Alright guys, welcome to RC Mojo. This week we're at the London Model Engineering Expo, which is in London. I was unsure whether I was going to go this year, as for the last 4 or 5 years it's been more or less the same exhibits with a few coming and going, but I'm still waiting for bits to come for the Bruiser clone, so needed to stretch out the videos a bit. So here we go then. If you've seen the previous years, you'll know I tend to hang around the Tamiya trucking layout quite a bit, and this year was no exception. I was there on the Friday, which isn't the best to gauge the attendance, as lots of people are of course working. Most of the attendees were older folks, the greybeards, and right at the other end there were a few accompanied kids under school age. I should think on the Saturday, and probably even more on the Sunday, you'd have a bit of a struggle to get to the front on some of the trade stands. The BMFA stand was there as usual, showing some model planes, and of course the simulator trailer. They have the flight demonstrations running most of the day, but whenever I went past, there were only profile foamies buzzing around. Sure, their flight performance is quite impressive, especially in the confined space, and they're probably rather good at catching people's eye at a show that isn't primarily RC. But it would have been nice to see some other models like the E-Flight UMX range. They're a bit more scale, and should still have plenty of room to manoeuvre. Now, because this is an engineering show, we do see quite a lot of small static models. All of them, without exception, make my attempts look like a 5-year-old having a stab at finger painting an Airfix kit. Everything from civilian aircraft to World War II trucks. So much detail. And it's not just small models. Here's a full-size battle droid, because why not? If there's one thing that goes with model engineering, it's model railway. More specifically, locos with working steam engines. These ones are gauge 1, so they're quite big. I believe most of them, the only controls are on the loco itself, so you have to catch up with it, reach in and fiddle with the controls through the side. Now I'm sure I've seen one using a Spectrum radio at another show, but that seems to be a bit of a rarity. Here's a similar layout, this time it's an Indian hill railway with lots of detailed scenery. It's a shame that you'd need a whole boiler to make steam like that. It would be a good substitute for a smoke unit on the trucks. Some of the locos were quite literally making clouds of the stuff. And it's not just the large steam trains. These are Hornby live steam models, good old 00 gauge, but with a little working steam engine. Powered through the track rather than running on fuel, so they don't quite have the right smell, but a very neat bit of kit. With the body off, you can see there's quite a lot of gubbins packed inside. Very nice. And of course, it's not just relatively small trains, there's also some very large locos and wagons. But I find after a certain scale, they do start to look a bit strange. A nice bit of engineering for a miniature railway for sure though. Back to more familiar ground here, we've got a range of scale cars and trucks. You've got the usual Rastar and WPL toys, possibly converted to hobby grade electronics, but it's hard to tell just by looking at the top. Up the other end of the table, we've got some Land Rovers, most likely on RC 4-wheel drive chassis. They were all very nicely done out with believable stuff stored in the roof racks. But I think my favourite from this lot was the Landy Ambulance. On the face of it, it looks like a very simple slab-sided conversion, but looking closely you can see there's an awful lot of detail in it. Quite excellent. One of the things I did notice since last year, those WPL and similar toy trucks were everywhere. This stand had a B1 in sky blue, a rather nice looking UN 6-wheel cat, I might have to steal that idea, and a B24 sat on a trailer behind a larger truck. It really makes me want to get back into my two, especially now there's loads of aftermarket metal bits. Aside from lots of model boats, there was also a fair bit of classic Meccano, not that plastic stuff they sell now. I would have gone nuts as a kid if I had a kit big enough to even attempt some of these builds. There was also some Lego, now a bit more than last year I think, and I believe with an expanded machine for moving all the small orange balls around. Each section has a different convoluted method of moving the balls to the next section. Most of them work fairly smoothly, but every so often balls would be spat out over the side. Great fun. As usual then, it was a good day out. Now, it would be nice if some of the tanks and off-road trucks had somewhere to run, rather than just the Tamiya trucking, but you can't have it all. I'll leave you with a few remaining clips. I'm not sure what's left, but there will probably be something. So as always, thanks for watching, like if you liked, subscribe if you haven't, and leave a comment if there's something on your mind. Bye guys!